Good afternoon. Welcome to the College for Every Student live chat. I'm Elaine Dixon-Cross, the College and Career Ambassador at CFES. I'm joined today by Porter Braswell, the CEO and co-founder of Jopwell. Jopwell is a platform that helps companies connect and communicate with minority candidates for internships, entry-level, and experienced hiring opportunities. Porter will be discussing preparing students for 21st century careers. During the live presentation, you can participate by posting your questions and comments in the chat window, and we'll ask Porter for you. Porter, you're up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's great to be here today and exciting to have an opportunity to connect with everybody. And CFES is really near and dear to my heart as being a board member of the organization. I fully support the work and all the amazing initiatives that are going on. So really excited to be here today. Thank you.
Sorry, Porter, we're getting some feedback.
I'm sorry?
Can you turn your volume down a little bit?
Yeah. How's that?
That seems better. Okay, are you ready for our first question?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have from a teacher. What are the important soft skills for students to develop? How would a college graduate show a potential employer that they have these soft skills? And soft skills are what we know as essential skills.
So how do you develop soft skills was the question?
I'm sorry?
So how do you develop soft skills? Is that the question?
Yes. How would a college graduate show a potential employer that they have these soft skills?
Absolutely. So first off, is there still feedback?
There is a little bit.
Okay. Let's see. Is this any better?
So when I talk is when I'm getting the feedback. Is it from? No problem. We'll just try a couple of things.
You sound good to me over here. So
as we all love technology. Porter, do you have the sound coming out from your speakers?
Yeah.
Could you turn it down to the lowest can still hear us?
Yeah, absolutely. So that should be right here.
Okay, let me try this. Okay, great. Now we can barely hear ourselves coming back through a second later, so we should be all set. I would say technology is definitely a Okay.
Thanks. All right. Thanks for that, Porter. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and ask the question again.
Okay.
What are the important soft skills to develop? And how would a college graduate show a potential employer if they have these soft skills?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing for somebody to demonstrate that they have soft skills, and what I want to see as I hire a lot of people, is grit and hunger. And I think that people can develop those soft skills through knowing their story and being able to articulate their story. A lot of people have challenges in their lives, and if they can recognize what some of the challenges are, especially as high school students, and they can craft a story for how they've been able to overcome those challenges and to demonstrate their grit and their hunger, that to me is one of the most critical soft skill sets. And that desire and passion to persevere, we're all capable of, but it's how can you demonstrate that? And really it's through knowing your own story and picking out the times in your life where you've had to persevere, where you've had to show that grit, and then being able to comfortably articulate that to somebody. And one of the things that I experience a lot when I chat with high school students is that they say, I don't have work experience, so how do I build a resume? It's a great question. Well, the way you build a resume, again, is through talking through your various experiences. So some of the things that I encourage high school students to do in particular is to start your own business. It doesn't have to be a complicated business. It could be selling t-shirts. It could be, selling candy at sporting events in your local communities. It's getting yourself out into the world and doing things that require initiative. And if you can show that you are making that initiative to do something, that becomes your resume. And then you need to be able to speak to that. But the only way to create a resume outside of just your education is by actually doing something. And so I strongly encourage all high school students to get out into the world, have amazing experiences, show that grit, show that hunger, put that on your resume, and then feel comfortable speaking about that. Because at the end of the day, that's what I want to hear from my seat as an employer. I don't care about a lot of other things. I care about people who are hungry, who are passionate, who are qualified, and who know their story and they want to get something done, and who are passionate about something. And so those are really the soft skill sets that anybody can have, regardless of your background. And it's what I look for when I hire people.
Great, thank you. Along those lines, we have another question from a student in Florida. It is, I know that internships are important for getting work experience, but I can't afford to take an unpaid internship. How can I gain experience that's relevant?
Absolutely. So it's not so much that an internship is important. It's more so that you work that's important. And it's work that's thoughtful work that's important. The reason why internships on paper, people perceive that to be important is because with the internship comes experience. And so people want to know that you have actual experience, which then therefore kind of gets your foot in the door. But if you can't afford to take an unpaid internship to get that experience, create your own experience. Again, like anybody can start a business. Anybody can make initiatives that they feel are worthwhile doing. To start a business requires literally no money. It virtually requires no money at all. It requires grit and hunger. So if you can't afford to take an unpaid internship, you can afford in your spare time to build something, to launch something, to go out and be public about something. And treat that as your internship and mark that on your resume as being your internship. So again, like I look for people who are passionate, who do things with purpose. And so even if you can't afford to take that unpaid internship, there's no reason to say that you can't afford to create something. Because at the end of the day, if you're not going to build something or create something for yourself, then it's going to be a tough road ahead of you. So again, have grit, have the passion, figure out ways that you can create value within your own community and create your own internship opportunities.
Thank you. Can you tell us, we obviously know what you do now. It's pretty impressive, the CEO of Jopwell, but can you tell us about your own experience and how you came to this point?
Absolutely. So I was incredibly fortunate in high school to go to a boarding school called the Lawrenceville School. And at the time, Morgan Stanley was offering diversity internships for high school students. And somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, you qualify for this. You fit the description for what they're looking for. You have the academic background. You should apply. And so I got incredibly fortunate that somebody was looking out for me. But fortunately, CFES looks out for high school students. And so I applied. I got lucky. I got the internship. And I started working there my junior and senior summers in high school, exposed to the financial industry really early on. In college, I decided to continue that internship pipeline. I leveraged the internship I had at Morgan Stanley and then started interning at Goldman Sachs. And I spent 3 summers interning there in college. And again, all through me kind of pushing my way in the door, leveraging previous experiences that I had, learning how to talk about my experience, my next opportunity. And so I had 5 internships from high school to college. And then I started my career at Goldman Sachs, where I bought and sold currencies. And so my internships led directly into my full-time job. What I did for 3 years outside of college, until one day I decided that I wanted to build my own business, but I wanted to build a business around things that I was passionate about. And so diversity recruiting is something I'm incredibly passionate about. Diversity recruiting is the reason why I had the opportunities that I was afforded. So I wanted to do something in that lane, and I wanted to make sure that companies could do it in a really scalable, efficient method. And so I decided to build Jopwell to enable companies to do the recruitment of our community in scale. And so that was my pathway to doing what I'm doing right now.
Thank you for that. And along those lines, we have a student in Texas. What can I do in high school to make my resume better when I graduate?
So I think the couple of things that you could do to make your resume attractive to employers when you graduate. The first one is to say yes to a lot of things in college. Saying yes creates unique opportunities that you may never have known existed. So for instance, when I was in high school, I had a dance teacher reach out to me and said, "You should do ballet." I was like, "There's no way I'm going to do ballet." Yes. And when I said yes, I ended up doing ballet for 2 summers as an extracurricular activity, and that was on my resume. It still is on my resume. And I can speak to that now when I'm looking for opportunities about how that unique opportunity taught me a lot about myself. And so it's another speaking point that I have that's on my resume. So in college, the opportunity to say yes may lead you to different countries around the world. It may lead you to joining different programs and different activities. And those activities that you participate in become part of your resume. So whether it's joining an intramural team, or it's joining an acting team, or it's doing something student government related, all those things that you say yes to become your resume. So the more you say yes to in college, the longer and more in depth your resume will be. So there's always opportunities to build your resume, but it requires you saying yes.
Thank you for that. And that starts in high school too. We have a college explore program that we help our scholarships to, and that can help them build their resume as well.
Awesome.
We have another question from a student right next door to us, Caleb. He did a interest yesterday, which is part of our business career lab. And he noticed that a lot of things that he was interested in, the salary was less than $30,000. He wanted to know, what can I do to increase my earning potential?
So that's a great question. To increase your earning potential, you should become more specialized in a certain skill set. I tend to believe that more generalists don't command the same type of salary that somebody who's a specialist can command. If you become world-class at a certain thing or skill set, you can demand a certain price point for your services. The more you can specialize in something, the more valuable you can become to an organization. Therefore, the more they'd be willing to pay you. So the more that you can hone a skill set, hone a craft where you become an expert and world-class at it, the more likely it is that you can command a higher salary, because you'll be irreplaceable. And the more irreplaceable you are, the more likely they're going to be willing to pay you to keep you there.
Great, thank you for that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what goes in your own business?
I'm sorry, what was what?
Can you tell us a little more about what goes into starting your own business?
Yeah. So the short answer is that everything. There's everything that goes into starting your own business. It can be overwhelming if you know how much goes into it. I think the exciting thing, though, is to create an idea to get it off the ground. The only thing that goes into it is passion, right? Like, before you get into figuring out your legal structure and your tax structure and your employment structure, the very first thing is being passionate about something. And so I think before people about when your business becomes successful, what you then have to do, because that's a great problem to have, but that comes down the road. I think the most critical thing about starting a business and what goes into a business for me is answering 3 questions, and to ensure that you can check off 3 boxes. Those 3 boxes are A, that you're passionate about something. If you're not passionate about something, it's not worth doing. B, you're uniquely qualified to do that thing that it is that you want to do. Because if you're not uniquely qualified to do that, then somebody's going to be better than you at it. And if somebody's better than you at it, then you're going to be put out of business. And then the third thing is that you're making impact, and that you're doing something that's making life better or easier for somebody else. And that's important, because if it's not doing that, then the passion that you have is going to die off. So if you're passionate about something, if you feel like you can make impact doing it, and if you feel like that you're uniquely qualified to doing it, those are the ingredients that go into building any successful business. And I think that is a journey that one has to take to realize what that idea or what that concept is that kind of checks off those three different boxes. And if you can do that, whatever comes out of that is the right business opportunity for you.
Thank you. Can you explain a little bit more about uniquely qualified? I know you were speaking about experience before. Does that relate to that? Could you identify what that means to you?
Yeah. So it means a lot of different things. We all have been blessed and privileged to have certain elements that make us unique. In my instance, I was fortunate to have early access to financial industries. I was also really fortunate to I went to Yale University for my undergrad, and I was really fortunate to build a strong network of people that went on to do amazing things. So I knew internships really well, recruiting really well, and I had a really strong network. And so those three things I felt were unique to me in the way in which I could put it together. And so when I decided to build Jopwell, my business, I knew that those three ingredients, for somebody to compete with me, for somebody to come into my space, they're going to also have to have those unique ingredients that they could scale faster than I could. So I thought I had a competitive edge because of what I had a unique opportunity to receive in terms of opportunities for myself. And so we all have unique opportunities or skill sets that if you kind of trace back your life, you'll see and you'll recognize them. And then you can take those individual pieces that make you unique, put that together and see what that kind of evolves into. And then that can become what you're uniquely qualified to do.
Porter, you're inspiring me. So we have another question from a student in Florida. Can you recommend how to build your network? Where does that start?
Can you repeat that?
So this from a high school student in Florida, how can you recommend how to increase your network?
Yeah, absolutely. So it goes back to a similar thing that I mentioned of saying yes. Increasing your network is as simple as saying hi. Literally, go out and be outgoing. When you're in an environment amongst people who you find interesting, literally go up to somebody and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. What's your name? Literally starting a conversation. People take a lot of interest in people who come up to them who's seeking advice or mentorship. Everybody loves talking about what they do and helping the next person up. And if they don't like doing that, they're not worth speaking to. But nothing gets lost by going up to somebody and literally just introducing yourself. And so what I have found to be the best and most efficient way to build a network is to literally just be uncomfortable and go up to individuals and say hi and start a conversation. And from that conversation, anything can happen. I have countless stories of people I've gone up to that I didn't think there was anything in common between the two of us, and they turned out to be angels in my life that have opened doors and have done amazing things, and we built amazing relationships where it's been give and take. And because I just said hi. And so literally the best way to expand your network is to, whenever you're around professionals or people that you think are interesting, introduce yourself, ask them what they do, ask them if they have a contact information, and then actually reach out to that individual. Don't be shy, don't be bashful, actually do that. And it's the people who do that are the people who grow their networks. So it's important.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have any questions. Okay. So that is the end of our quarter. Do you want to add anything else before we sign off?
No, I just want to thank you again. I think that, again, everybody, especially in high school, and I tell this, I try to drive this home as much as I can for high school students. It does not matter the background that you come from. It does not matter what your parents have done. What matters is that you have a story, and it's how you craft that story that ultimately will determine your success. So you have to embrace your background. You have to embrace what makes you unique. you need to know that story, and you need to be compelling when you share that story. And if you can do that, people want to listen. When people listen, they give you opportunities. When they give you opportunities, you have to execute. And so, you know, I think high school students have a unique opportunity because your life is ahead of you right now. And you can determine what your life is going to be. If you're passionate, if you care, if you're hungry, if you have grit. If you don't, it's going to be pretty miserable. But if you do, there's a lot of amazing opportunity ahead of you. And nobody can do it but yourself. So you got to grind, you got to get it done. And it's amazing what can happen if you have those qualities. So, but with that, I appreciate it. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Porter, for volunteering. A live chat. And for your inspiring message. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. A recording of this live chat will be available on our website, collegecs.org. Happy Friday, everyone.